So in the past, we've gone into quite a bit of detail about the Scirocco-Class assault cruiser utilized by the Martian Congressional Republic Navy, but I figured today we could take a closer look at one specific ship within that class, the lead ship of the class, the MCRN Scirocco. I'm Colin, and this is Sci-Fi Deep Dive. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, to head down below and hit that subscribe button. So, the MCRN Scirocco, serial number EML-09, is, as the name suggests, a Scirocco-class assault cruiser. And, well, I'm not going to go into detail, really, about what the Scirocco-class assault cruiser is, because I've actually already done several videos on that class of ship. I'll go over some of the basics. As the name would infer, it is a cruiser designed specifically to carry troops. It's designed from the ground up to transport Martian Marines from one location to another, as well as to serve as a mainstay warship for assaults against facilities, and it really seems to just be everywhere within the MCRN. Arguably one of their most sort of workhorse vessels utilized by that faction. The Scirocco was sporting a single V-14 heavy railgun designed for engaging targets within 1,000 kilometers, 10 configurable torpedo tubes, 5 of the medium category and 5 of the standard category, as well as a network of 14 PDCs designed to protect the vessel against incoming projectiles. However, like the rest of the Scirocco class, the Scirocco herself was designed really specifically for carrying troops. Her most significant complement being a belly full of dropships designed to land Martian Marines on the surface of worlds or on other vessels. But enough about the Scirocco class as a whole, let's take a closer look at the MCRN Scirocco herself. While it had a fairly standard armament, it did have a fairly significant history. And all of this starts with a showdown at Phoebe Station. The first time we see the MCRN Scirocco on screen, it is being dispatched to Phoebe Station in response to some threats against the station by the United Nations. It's noteworthy at this time that Phoebe Station was the last destination of the Doniger before its destruction at the hands of a squadron of Protogen Amun-Ra class stealth ships. So anyway, the Scirocco is en route to Phoebe to secure the station and prevent it from falling into enemy hands. Enemy being both the UN and, well, Protogen, although at that time I don't believe Protogen was very well known to have been the source of those stealth ships. However, as the Scirocco was approaching Phoebe Station, it quickly realized it wasn't alone. It had company. A Leonidas-class battleship, the Nathan Hale, had also been dispatched to Phoebe Station in response to the ongoing crisis. Now, the problem is that a Leonidas-class battleship is actually more capable of a warship than a Scirocco-class assault cruiser, and would likely best the cruiser in combat. So the decision was ultimately made to have the Scirocco utilize one of its nuclear torpedoes to destroy Phoebe, as opposed to allowing it to fall into the UN's hands. Following this, the Scirocco was dispatched to Ganymede, where it was present for the Ganymede incident, being the base ship for the Martian Marines operating on the surface of the planet at the time of the beginning of the skirmish. During that battle, the Scirocco actually sustained some pretty significant battle damage that did manage to kill a good portion of the crew, however, didn't take the ship completely out of operation. The Scirocco would ultimately withdraw their troops from the surface of Ganymede and retreat from that portion of the system. After retreating back to Mars, it would be redeployed to Earth, a very interesting deployment for a Martian warship. The Scirocco would specifically be intended to transport a Martian delegate to the MCR embassy in New York. This is the ride that took Bobby Draper to Earth for the first time. And it's from the Scirocco that dropship descends down to the surface of the Earth. And we know that sometime after this, with the onset of the UN-MCR war, the Scirocco was recalled to Mars and utilized during the conflict. Now, it's not known whether the warship survived the engagements of that brutal and widespread war, but it is known that the Scirocco was present for several major battles, mostly in the Jovian system part of the solar system. All in all, the Scirocco as a whole actually does have a very interesting story from start to finish, and it is kind of unique within the Expanse to get such a varied story within the history of any single vessel. There's only a few ships that I could think of that really have such a well-developed lineage throughout their sort of service within the universe. But the Scirocco, ultimately, when it boils down to it, is just a pretty standard MCRN Scirocco-class assault cruiser. And if you'd like to learn more about the Scirocco-class assault cruiser, I'll leave a link up here to my video all about that. And I'd like you to let me know down in the comments whether you think the Scirocco survived the UN MCR war. We know a lot about its history, but we really don't know what happens after the outbreak of the war, so I'd be interested to hear whether you think the Scirocco had a good chance at surviving the conflict and continuing to serve within the MCRN, or do you think it was likely lost in the engagements with Earth during that conflict, or maybe even lost during the engagements with the Free Navy during the Free Navy War? And if you have anything else you'd like to see me cover in The Expanse, leave it down below in the comments. Last but not least, if you enjoyed this video, head down below, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon so you get notified when I upload new videos. So for Sci-Fi Deep Dive, I'm Colin, and I will see you next time.